With my mentors, we had two hiccups in our interaction with one another. And I would say the way that this was handled, I would hope, would be an example for others. I have been employed with Chester County Department of Children, Youth, and Families since October 18th, 1999. So it's going on 16 years that I've been at my current job. When I was hired, I did not have a car. And I was hired as a caseworker, and if you're familiar with casework, you know, you're going out in the community, you're doing home visits. I didn't have a car, but my friends, my mentors, got together and did a 2-week schedule of getting me back and forth to work. I didn't live far away from my office, maybe 30 minutes, but there was someone who took me, got Janae off where she needed to go, and picked me up in the evenings. And we did that for about 2 weeks. And during that time, I was praying for a car. And I was praying that God would give me favor, and that God would bless me, that there would be a dealership that would give me a loan. So I often say I was praying for debt. Thank God that He answers us, right? In my devotion this morning, I was reminded that He either answers with a yes, with a no, or with a wait. And I'm almost positive that it was a no. But I wasn't hearing, so I'm praying and crying out to the Lord, please, please, Lord, give me debt, essentially is what I was asking for, as I was asking to be approved for loans so that I could get a car. And again, my mentors, we would go to the different car dealerships, and they were right there beside me. And I can tell you, I felt the prayer that was going on, because I know that they knew that that was not the right choice for me, that it wasn't the right plan for me to take on this set of debt while I was just getting myself transitioned into my home and into my job. But what I remember so clearly about that time of interaction was how dignified they treated me through that process. We would go to the car dealerships, I would ask the questions that I had, they would even chime in and ask questions. We would, share information, pros and cons. Never once did one of them say, you should not do this. This is not the right thing for you to do. This is going to totally set you back. Not once. Did they think that, feel that? Probably. Were they probably calling the office, sharing their concerns? Probably. But they weren't dealing with me in that mode. They were prayerful, and they walked alongside me. Long story short, in the end, no debt, because God said no, even though I was praying. Hershey Motors worked with Bridge of Hope. It's a dealership in my area. And they donated or gave a vehicle to Bridge of Hope for a nominal fee of $2,500 outright. So I owned my first vehicle for $2,500. There were no car notes to it. I paid insurance. It didn't set me back in my budgeting. And I had my car. And more importantly, I had a closer connection with my group, because when I think about that, in my mind, I choose to believe that they had to have a trust that I would come to the right place without them interjecting their values and opinions about it. And in supporting me through physically being there and asking questions and considering the information, and also through prayer. One other real quick, and I'll be closing. Another hiccup that I had with my group, and I know that they were coming from a good place with this, was around confidentiality. One of the prayers I pray for myself is, Lord, enlarge my territory. When I say to people that I am a shy person, when I say to folks that I'm a very private person, it's hard for them to believe that. And I believe it's the enlarging of my territory because of my life experiences and what the Lord would have me do in sharing. But confidentiality was huge, because I would have an achievement or something would happen, and before I could share it with the group, they had shared it with each other. And I struggled with that, because then when I would go or I would get a phone call, they're saying, oh, we heard this, we heard that. And I go along and I would say, oh, I wish I had the opportunity to tell you myself. So I entered into what I didn't know then was crucial conversation. And I had to share with my group that while I know that they were coming from a good place and sharing about me, that I wanted the opportunity to do that myself. It was totally received. And when I would share different things about myself personally, I would get a question, is it okay for me to share this with the group? So they honored and respected that request. Those were, for me, the two hiccups, I would say, that we had. Again, an extraordinary experience, one that has changed my life, that has caused me to ever want to be a part of Bridge of Hope. I served on the boards of Lancaster and Chester County as a participant. I now serve on the national board. I want to give back in any way possible. So if it means being very public with my stories and sharing that it would make a difference for someone else, so be it.